there was this couple there, and then at the end of the night, we got out, and my girlfriend swears I misheard this guy, but he stops me. He's like, "Excuse me, were you a rock star?" And I was just like, I still am. And I walked away. And then my girlfriend stopped and talked to them. She's like, he didn't say were. He had an accent, and it sounded like that to you. That's not what was said. But I was just like, that motherfucker. I'm like, what? Do I look 85 years old? I guess, I should just be like, well, I have some sort of rock look that he's picking up on. I should accept it. Anyway, should we say we're here with Matthew Caws?
No, you do it.
We're here with Matthew Caws from Now to Surf.
Yes.
And I was going to throwing it to you, Tom. We'll fix that in the edit.
Yeah. Imagine a world where only guitars mattered. Matthew Caws of Not a Surf. Mm-hmm. He's here today.
Yes,
and
he sits among us.
He sits among us, and this is an unusual episode for us because I have known Matthew and he me for so long that I'm not even going to say how long it's been.
You need math.
You need math, but I will just...
Well, because you're both New York City kids, right?
Yeah, and our parents were colleagues. They taught together at Hunter College.
Yeah, and
wow.
my dad knew your mom even before that.
Right.
At Yale.
Right.
Oh, my safety school.
Yeah. And so I have known, and this is probably too much information, but I'm an only child, so I've sort of collected big brothers over the years, and I would say that Matthew over here is one of them, even though he's only 6 days older than me.
I was going to say, why are you setting him up to be way older?
Yeah. No,
I am.
We're like Romulus and Remus. And I, through the years, he's been a great mentor to me.
Oh, Tom.
And also, I think it's his fault that I'm here today. And I'm going to start with a question to him if he remembers this.
Okay.
Do you remember being on a Metro North train?
I do. Yeah.
And me and my mom were on the train, and Matthew and his mom were on the train. And Matthew was like, yo, check this out. And he brought me over to where they were sitting, and he had a case, like a square guitar case. And he popped it open, and there was a Telecaster in there. But my question is, did it have a Kaler in it or not?
It may have. I did have a Telecaster with a Kaler. Why did I have that? No dive bombing, no shredding. Very, very slow player here. I don't know what that was about. I think it was that they were just so ever present.
Yeah.
And it was the same period where, not to change the subject at all, where I thought only big amps were good.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? It had to be a twin. It had to be a JC-120. It had to be a Marshall.
I was just talking about this, not to brag. I was just texting about this with Trey Anastasio the other day. I'll show you the text if you don't believe me. But we were talking about this because we were talking about the Swart Space Tone amp, that little amp that Trey and I both have, whatever. And then we were talking about the lie of when we're kids and we think that everyone plays out of massive amps, and then we find out, none of them did.
Yeah, right. Or there's a cheap trick. There'll be the walls of empty Marshall cabinets, and then there's two Vibroluxes over on the side.
It's a deluxe.
Two deluxes.
Yeah, and it's not even.
Yeah.
Sorry, no,
even smaller.
Sorry, you stepped into the shit here because I have. It's he actually has. It's just.
I like how you can't not do this.
I can't not do.
It's like my dog can't not sniff pee. He has this one. Oh my god, I got to do it though. I can't. This is a disorder just playing itself out.
So he has on the side of the stage. It's a deluxe reverb.
Yeah,
but it's cut.
Oh,
it's just into a head.
Oh,
and it's one of those that were modified by Paul Rivera back in the day.
I remember this.
So Nielsen had them. Steve Lukather had them. That's like the sound you hear on Beat It.
Oh.
All those LA cats had these modified, and then Nielsen just runs it into one of those Randall ISO boxes. And that's his whole.
That's his whole thing.
It's just in his
He
ears.
doesn't need all that stuff.
Nothing.
Wait,
It
in
looks
his
great.
ears, but I thought until very recently they were using monitors, no?
Maybe he had something else, but I don't know. 10 years ago, he was in ears.
Oh, I thought they were anyway.
So anyway,
And they've got lights in the Marshall cab, so
yes.
you're like, those are amplifiers, and then lights come on. You're like, oh, okay, well, that's cool too.
I'm sorry that I had to go in that direction.
No,
with
no, no.
Rick Nielsen. But so you did have a Telecaster with a Kaler.
Yes, still don't know why.
Wait, it was a Fender Telecaster with a Kaler?
I must have had it put in.
Oh my
I
god!
know why. I know.
You know what it was? Because it was that dude,
who insisted on having
that
stuff
guy,
done.
right? Who we won't name because he might still be alive.
Well, and
On
who
Bleecker Street.
who allowed me to do something absolutely horrific, which is that I had a Gretsch Tennessean, and I was like, this floating bridge seems really like a bad idea. It might float around, and he let me at age 16 with like nobody telling me not to. I was like, shouldn't you? Can you drill that bridge in? I know. I mean,
Oh my god!
it's awful.
That would be like, can you tattoo my face?
It's malpractice.
Yeah.
I was under 18.
My
Like I didn't know.
Oh my gosh. Well, I can tell you something. I probably talked about this before, just because we're in this area. But in high school, my friend Chris Allen, who plays in a great band called Falling Stars in Cleveland, he was playing guitar, and I forget what he had, but he was like, I gotta get it. I'm saving up for a new guitar. And he's like, I don't know what to get. And I was like, I know what you need to get. Because there's no internet. You only know the guitars in your town.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Those are the only ones that exist.
Right.
So there was a store, Soja Music, and they had two Charvel Model 2, single pickup, single volume, I
Model
think.
2 is Japanese or Korean?
I think it was still Japanese.
Ding ding ding.
And but I was, this poor guy, I was like, get your money, come on, you're getting this sweet guitar. And then he got it, and then I think he realized, he was like, what, this isn't me in any, and then shortly after, like, sold it and got himself a Strat, and the rest is history.
It could have been. What if maybe that would have been great advice, just depending on the person. Maybe he was. That.
He just wasn't.
Yeah.
And it was like, and the weird thing is, like, Tom and I, the basis of this show is that the only reason I suggested it was because I was one of, now Tom being the third, but my buddy Tim Parner and I, who is also in Falling Stars and VP of the Rock Hall, just quick bios, we were like the only two kids in our school who were like super into like replacements and Who's Screwed and all that, but we also loved Rat and everything.
Right.
So we were like, we're into this, but you can play that music on the guitars of the other stuff.
Right.
So we bought all that other stuff, or wanted to at least.
I always thought it'd be great if there was like a really twee band that only played super sharp-ended, V's.
I think, doesn't the guy from
Maybe.
Sleigh Bells or
He
something
plays
play?
Jackson's.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
He does, but he was also in Poison the Well, so he has a metal provenance. So
Metal
that,
provenance.
but that Telecaster is literally the fork in the road for me. Like that was it. Like I saw
Yeah.
a Telecaster. I don't think probably the Kaler for me made it cooler, but like
Right.
I didn't know at that time. But like that was it. Like that was the day that the madness began. Where I was like, that thing in that case is going to dominate
Right.
my life.
And so it has been.
Yeah, I can like actually close my eyes and still see like that it was on the floor, and like it's really weird.
But that's awesome. But then
Cool.
so soon after that, you were shredding.
Or trying.
I mean, it seemed like it. You're the first person I ever saw sweep pick.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'd never seen that.
I'm even against that.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's a bad thing. Is that?
Well, I think
Is that cheating? No.
this is. I mean, my thinking about sweep picking is it's the least. There's no sex in sweep picking. No matter who's doing it, I'm like, no one. This is not headed towards the rock and roll goal.
I'm so glad this has come up because there's no way I would have known that there was.
I think it's just
Controversy.
complete. There's just like nothing cool about it
Wow.
to me. I just think it sounds dumb.
Even when Yngwie does it.
I mean, ultimately, yeah, I think so. Even Yngwie, I would say it's not what I enjoy about Yngwie, and I enjoy, and this is, well, he's already said no to doing this show, so I'll say
he turned us
I'll
down,
say
so.
Oh wow.
I enjoy very little about Yngwie. I think it's an amazing 20 minutes of your life to see it live and then get out of there.
I like watching his guitar lessons. First of all, because there's so much noise from all the bracelets.
Yes.
And the multiple watches.
I've
It's like
never
he's like
watched.
jingle, jingle, jingle. And then he's like, so here's the riff. And plays it, it's a million miles an hour. And here is it half speed. It's a million miles an hour. I don't see any, I can't detect that it's any slower.
The one I will say, and just I say this, we still want you, Yngwie, on the show, and
Yeah.
I enjoy more than 20 minutes. I'm just being mean because you said no, but you hear all these horror stories about Yngwie, but every interview I've ever watched, I watch, YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, seems like a nice guy to me.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Do you think like when I was getting into metal that like I was just a lost soul?
No. I thought, no.
Because you were the one who was like, here's the soft voice and the church, Tom. Listen to this.
Yeah, but I've always liked everything. I think I was just spending more time in that part than I thought it was cool.
It is a thing though, like going, my buddy Tim that I mentioned earlier, we were the only guys in our group of friends that listened to all this like indie rock and like UK stuff and all this, and then we're totally into shredders and stuff, and we would go see Rat and David Lee Roth and all this stuff, and people would be like, you can't do that,
Right,
and we were like, yeah, we just did. It was fun.
Yeah. Right, just like playing with the radio when you're a kid. You don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Disco, it's
Yeah.
classic. It's
yeah, but somehow that was just like verboten.
Yeah, there is a lot of judging.
Not to bring up Jason
tribalism.
Narducci.
But
lot
we,
of that with the
we-
punk scene,
Matthew and
too.
I. Okay.
Yeah.
No, you can't wear a band shirt if you have the patch on your vest.
Is that a rule?
Oh, fact.
Like a punk rule.
Oh,
I don't know.
really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you
Yeah.
can't double on.
Yeah,
the-
like I don't know. It's like a thing.
I have that
At least-
kind of rule where I won't wear two items. Like I won't wear I won't have, even if my jacket's closed, I won't have a band shirt on and then have any musical reference.
Oh, right.
in. It's just a thing.
It's like a
for my-
cognitive dissonance.
Yeah. I'm like, it's too
Sartorial.
much.
Wow.
Plus, I don't know. I don't want to invite too much conversation. Like this shirt, and
Right.
you were like, "Oh, that's Chris's band,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "That's perfect. That'll do me for the day."
Yeah.
So, is this a frequent thing? I saw a picture of you on Instagram, and both you and Dave are probably the people I know who spend the most time getting on airplanes with guitars of anyone ever. You had a seat
Yes.
for your guitar,
Yes.
and that seemed pretty baller to me.
Well, it's the thing is that on Ryanair and EasyJet, very often the seat costs about £20, and checking a guitar is £65, something like that. So
Wow.
it's very often cheaper. So that's why I do it.
Oh yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like I don't think we have the equivalent here.
Yeah.
In the
No.
states of like Ryanair that are like basically, yeah, it's like the bus. It's like we're not.
Right.
It's like beyond Spirit Airlines.
Yeah, and they make all their money on the extras. Like,
Yeah.
It used to be now they wouldn't be able to get away with saying you can't put the thingy, your boarding pass on your phone. But it used to be that if you didn't print out the boarding pass, there was like £120 fine. So
That's
the seat's
crazy.
costing you $8, and then you're paying for it.
Oh wow!
Everything else.
Have they? Because the only other time I've seen this recently was Joe Bonamassa
Right.
was flying somewhere, but he had a burst.
Well, he
in
can be
his seat.
He's like Yo-Yo Ma, right?
Right,
He can
right.
do whatever he
Yeah.
wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did he have a first? He had a first class.
Yeah.
Seat
Seat,
for the
right,
for the burst.
So have they destroyed? Have you? I've seen some, but like have you had guitar casualties?
Not. Yes. So, well, I've had a near miss where went to Japan, and with a good solid case, not a cardboard one, and there was my Black Les Paul was in there, and some kind of machine took a chomp out of the case, so there was a big bite.
Like Godzilla?
Like, yeah, it looked like yeah, for all I know. And it was like half an inch in on either side, or maybe even a little more. And I brought it to the complaint desk or whatever, the luggage desk, and they said, "Was it a used case?" I was like, "Yes." Yes,
no.
sure, but very solid,
Oh my gosh.
And I've had the thing where coming back from South by Southwest, I had a gig bag and there wasn't room, and they sort of insisted they put it in the hold, and it did break. But it's kind of my fault. I'm not reckless enough anymore to just carry a gig bag without being absolutely positive that I get to stay with it the whole time. I'd almost rather check it.
I will. I'll just try to seem mentally ill if they confront me about it. Like I'll go, they're like, "You can't bring that on a plane." I'm like, "So, what? Should the pilot bring it?" What do you, I just like act like I don't comprehend what they're saying. Yeah. And then if they really push it, I start to be like, "This is worth $7 million," and it's only failed me. I don't mind gate checking, like even though I act like no, you can't do that because I have those, like mono cases and stuff where like you could throw it, and it doesn't matter. But a couple times I've just had like just shitty gig bags because I wasn't worried about it, and then that's when they're like, "Oh, we're putting this through baggage."
Right. Oh my God.
And then you get it. Unfortunately, it's always been with like a Tele. I think it happened with my Kelly Tele one time. But like this is gonna survive. It's like the one guitar that could survive whatever stupid thing they're gonna do.
Yeah.
But both times they just leave it like not even on a conveyor, not even like a weird sized luggage area. They just leave it twice now on the floor of the baggage area.
Oh yeah.
Where it's just like like a discarded sock or something.
Not even leaning up against anything.
No, it's just like
flat.
there. Like, we'll just throw this on the floor. Fuck you.
Yeah, I never know what to tell people when they pick up a custom, because I've had some people fly in from Europe to pick up their guitar if they order one from me, and they're always like, "What do I do? Should I check it? I'm like, just make them let you bring it on the plane. There's gonna be room somewhere." But I always get worried giving people advice because I don't fly with
You just gotta
stuff.
cry.
I'm always
You
like,
gotta freak
don't
out.
ask me. Yeah.
It's only happened twice ever where they were like, "We're checking this into, it's going into the luggage."
Then you're like, I'll take it out of the case then, just so everyone can see what it is, and it's like an honesty test. Is that true that what was Afghan Wigs would stencil The Who on their road cases with the thought that like, people that handle luggage, they like The Who.
They like the Who.
But isn't that begging for it to be stolen?
I know. It's definitely
It's a trade-off.
That's
trade-off,
amazing. That's brilliant in a way.
You have here a Gibson acoustic, but am I going to get you in trouble by asking it?
No.
You went to the Martin factory.
Yes.
What's that like?
It's incredible. There's so many people who work on each Martin, so many. So it's so many specialized jobs. There are a lot of women, and there's a philosophy I think that's very beautiful there, which is that they don't do B stock, and everything is as good as it can be, and the workmanship and the sort of the precision of how it's intonated, or how where the bridge is exactly down to the micromillimeter, all that stuff, is the same on their guitars made with cheap wood and no bling, and the same on their guitars made with incredible wood and a lot of bling.
Wow.
So that's romantic. I think it's really cool.
So what
Like,
happened to the B stock?
Well,
I mean, there's got to be ones, right?
Oh,
The
that's-
runts?
it's a good question. Maybe
I actually know
people
the
working there.
answer.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, my
Where's it?
friend works there.
You make a good lawyer. You'll never ask a question you don't know the answer to.
I have a friend who's just started working there. I think he's like on the sanding line.
Yeah.
I'll probably watch I get him fired now. And that's it's the employees.
Oh, good. Well, as it should be.
Yeah.
That's good.
Wait, the employees get to it's like baked goods or something?
Yeah.
Just take it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's pretty
He's
cool.
working his way up through like sanding. Like that's what you do, and then you're at the next thing
I
and the
think
next
that
thing.
would be like I did a tour. Maybe we talked about this with Alex Skolnick, but he and I toured the Gibson factory, and everyone's doing like one thing, and I'm like, that would be like potentially the best job in the world. Just so meditative to just be like,
I wouldn't want to
do
it.
this one thing.
I wouldn't want to do
Well,
it. Rick worked in the Microfrets factory back in the 70s, and he was just working on necks the whole time. He was there about a year. So all the neck blanks that we have when they closed, we're starting to use them on shop guitars now, so we're finishing them all. But he has all the new old stock. But I like doing everything.
You do the whole guitar, top to
I do
bottom.
everything.
Soup to nuts.
From templates to the finishing.
That's incredible.
So you don't get. I feel like I would get bored doing one job all day like that in a factory.
Well, that's the point, though.
wouldn't-
You transcend it. You're just buffing, and then you're not even at
yeah,
the
you get really
factory
good
after
at
a
it.
while. You're just like in a on a mountaintop somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many guitars did you play? You bought How many did you ended
I
up with
bought
two?
two. I bought two. That was really
I
exciting.
just want to say, Matthew, I started making a list of every guitar that I know you've owned. He is like similarly addled, lest we
that's
not get to that
comforting.
point. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, total problem. I mean, I don't want to put.
Well, I developed a Martin problem 3 years ago where I was like, oh, they play so in tune and it's so ringy and it's so deep and solid, but which one do I want, And then, so then I had to sell some stuff to.
You were going
accommodate.
deep. You were sending me texts about like, well, the O
I know,
and
I know.
the brace. That you went deep, right?
It's like the sports. I mean, I don't know if we all have somewhere where the detailed obsession is going to go, and I don't follow sports.
Yeah.
So maybe this is where it is, and maybe it's just something you do while you can't deal with your real problems. I need a break from dealing with my real problems, so I'm going to type reverb.com.
Oh yeah.
Or I'm going to think about and then maybe it's, and I would even stress out a little bit and realize that I was getting to obsessive thinking, but also it's better than gambling.
It is.
Yeah.
Although I've determined that reverb is my gambling, and I took it off my phone because I think it's a dopamine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You
it
took it off your
completely.
phone?
But it.
Yeah.
Dude, you saw my reverb list.
Oh my god.
I know we went over it,
that's
but I
all
didn't know it
do.
was
I
off your
just go
phone
into like a thing where I just pick one thing and I'm just gonna look and just let this soak in, like.
I mean, of course, yeah. And if Reverb wanted to sponsor us, I'll put it back on my phone. But
Well, I'll tell you a little trick if you really want to get nasty, is you put in a search term that could just lead to anything, and then you just get all sorts of stuff coming through, and then you're not even going down a wormhole. You're just being free.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so what did you like?
Purple. Purple.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Just could be anything coming across, your phone.
And then your feed will act accordingly.
Everything's purple.
So what did you end up deciding? Like what brace? Like did you go into the bracing and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's scalloped bracing. But then there's the question, like, can you have too much low end? Which is, if you look at the low end's a fallacy too, just like giant amps. You're
Yes.
like, well, it should be fatter and fatter and fatter, and then you're like, oh, it's muddy. Okay, that's a different story. But
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. I mean, any acoustic that I've been like, whoa, it's always like that spark. That like, what is that? The J45 that you have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like you pick it up and it's just like ta-da. But
Yeah.
that's not like super low end.
Right.
Not super low end.
well, this one I have here has very little low end too.
I mean, recording, you're just going to take it away.
yeah,
It was for being around a campfire.
Yeah.
Or like on a stage at the Opry with like no PA.
The one thing I do like about like a D8, well, there are lots of things to like about a D18, but is that sometimes that big flooding of low end kind of puts you on the mountaintop because it just it puts you in a different place because all of a sudden you're in this world. It envelops you and takes you out of the room that you're sitting in. Maybe
Yeah.
like it's more
But
like
this is why, I don't think I can go down the wormhole of acoustic, like just buying a bunch, which I intend to at some point. But since I've had any amount of money where I can indulge in buying guitars all the time, I've lived like with my girlfriend, and she would just be like, "Shut up, stop it." So I just don't even buy them.
right.
Because I'm just buy stuff that I can play quietly in my little office.
Yeah, I mean, this little sort of Martin rabbit hole of the last couple of years is really an exception, because for years it's like I buy a new pick and I'm excited enough. And I do not need, I mean, I don't have a zillion, but I don't need any more guitars. And I really just play Tele all the time. And but sometimes buying something is fun, but a pick is so much safer.
Oh yeah. Well, we talk about this, like the thrill of just buying a pedal as just like kind of just like rather than spend $2,000-$3,000, you just spend $100
Get a quick hit.
and then you just
Quick hit. A Lucy. Like buying a Lucy on the corner.
and then you just put it in a drawer and never see it again.
Yeah, no, you gotta get something out of it. But like,
Oh yeah.
I remember a time when you were like, I just got a Vox Teardrop,
Yes.
and then I got a Strat. Like there was a right. When was that? That why we won't give it a year. But you were on the treadmill for a while, right?
Yeah, late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
I
loved that.
I had just no other cares. I mean, that's all I thought about. That's all I wanted. And that led to a great mistake of my life, which is that I had this 1966 Mark 12 Vox Teardrop, and it's the Will Sargent guitar from Echo and the Bunnymen. I'm a huge fan, and that guitar is what the solo from The Killing Moon is played on that acoustic. It's not plugged in. He just mic'd it up. They're not. They don't stay in tune. They're not great, but they're very beautiful.
It's red, right?
It's red, yeah. And and so I bought it from Richard Barone.
Whoa.
From an ad in the Village Voice for $400. And then this was a mistake, but I had Robin Hitchcock sign it. It's a mistake. I mean, he's one of the greatest humans who's ever lived, but I had him sign the front, which now, once in a very, very long time, somebody asked me to sign a guitar, and I'm always like, could I put it on the back? Because you're going to regret this.
You may need to stop this one day in an emergency.
Yeah.
I had Firebird signed by given to me. Well, we probably can't talk about this. Yeah. I'll just tell it and we can decide later.
Yeah.
But Gibson had given me a Firebird, and then I ran into Warren Haynes at Baggage coming back from Bonnaroo, and I was like, "You're a Firebird guy," and I was just like, "You got to sign this," and I wanted him to sign it genuinely.
Yeah.
But then I was paranoid that Gibson was going to ask for it back.
Oh, right.
So I was like, bonus, if he defaces the front of it, they probably can't take it back. So I was like, sign the front really big. And I still have it, and I love him. And and then I had, of all people, Ronnie James Dio was like, oh, I asked him to sign an acoustic guitar. I have an acoustic guitar. I used to do this kind of talk show thing at Upright Citizens Brigade, and I was doing it in LA for the first time, and the guests were Kyle Gass from Tenacious D and Ronnie James Dio. And after the show, Kyle had run off quickly, and it was just me and Dio, and I was like, you gotta sign my guitar. And he was like, where should I sign it, on the back? I'm like, no, you're Dio, sign the front of it. And he signs it really big, Dave Hill Rocks Magic, Ronnie James Dio. And I was like, and anyone can Google it. If you Google Dave Hill Dio, actually you should Google Dio Dave Hill, respectfully. And there's a picture of us with the guitar. But then sometime after that, I was doing the show, and Ira Glass from This American Life was the guest, and he's like, who signed your guitar? And I said, Dio. And this is what I've learned in life. People either know or they don't know. And he's like, who's Dio? And I was like, what? and I explained to him, this rube, he didn't know who Dio was. And then I was like, wait a minute. You have to sign this guitar, because that's like the yin and yang of my existence, basically.
Right.
Dio and Ira Glass.
Right.
So I have the only acoustic guitar signed by Dio and Ira Glass, to my knowledge.
Maybe the only anything signed by.
Yeah. I think probably. Anyway, big digression. I apologize.
So what'd you bring?
Oh, wait, we didn't.
So I sold it.
Wait, you sold
Because a year later, I love this guitar, but a year later, I thought I was broke and had all this guilt for having bought 2 or 3 guitars over the last year, and thought, I can't do this. And so I sold it out of a guilty panic. And then a year after that, I was really broke, like rice and beans. And I was like, I should have kept it. And so I've regretted it all this time, and I bought one last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just to, and it was kind of a bunch, but it was worth putting that ghost to bed and getting that regret, just putting it away. You know?
Now,
Yeah.
will you get Robin Hitchcock to sign this one? You should, Robin.
Don't you live in the same town as Kimberly Rue?
I do. I do.
You're like, no.
So let me tell you. So we were playing a gig in Dublin, and I was walking around the afternoon, and I passed by this store called Sumneck, and I picked this guitar off the wall and played it for a while, and absolutely loved it, and absolutely did not think of buying it because it was a bunch of money. It's a 1960 J50.
Wow.
And I went back to the club and saw the guys, and we were all comparing notes, like, oh, you want to get coffee? What do you have for lunch? Blah, blah, blah. And I said I'd been to this store and played the guitar I really liked. And Daniel, our bass player, was like, oh, what store was that? I was like, told him. And he said, what guitar was it? I told him. And then we talked about other stuff, and then we had the gig. And then that night, have a couple of beers on the bus, and 2 a.m., I'm the first to turn in. I go up to my bunk, and I can't get in my bunk. I don't understand what's happening. Like, did I put my luggage in there? Is this my luggage? Is this a wall? What's my name? Just so confused. And the case was in there, and he bought it for me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, my
That
gosh.
is,
Super nice. Yeah.
So cool.
So yeah, not a lot of low end, but nice.
oh, yeah.
It's just it's jangly. Yeah.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
What's that? Can you show us that you showed me once this, the special not a surf chord?
Oh well, I'm not sure.
It's the one you move around. Yeah.
It's just you take any bar chord and turn it into a partial chord. So
There
and
it is.
and then if it's a minor, and then
Boom.
so that's all.
That's it. But that's
Yeah.
that's the shit, as they say.
Right. That's if I'm repeating myself. That's how I'm repeating myself.
Was there a day that you were just playing and you found that and you're like, that is.
Yeah, I probably. Well, either I just got it from somebody else, or. Well, I mean, you've done the thing where you just put your fingers down and see what happens.
Yes.
Or go to something normal and then try to make it weird.
Something good usually doesn't happen though.
Just try to make it weird. And I was like ringing. I mean, maybe that's because like Pinball Wizard or something. There's a lot of ringing. I was like the ringing
ring
stuff. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so that's a way to do it. It doesn't work. I mean, it works from
A lot.
do it with a lot of chords.
Do you?
Yeah.
So was this, so people who aren't watching, this guitar is, let's call it weathered.
Yes.
It has no pickguard.
Yes, I did that, and the reason I play it all the time now is because now I'm completely in love. But the thing is that it had the Batwing pickguard on it,
Right.
And I hadn't really noticed that till I had it at home, and I felt so guilty because Daniel did this incredible, this amazing expensive gesture, and I was like, why don't I love how it looks? I just don't love it, and I like the teardrop classic pickups, pickguard so much more. But then I'm like, I'm never going to sell it. I can't sell it. I don't want to sell it, but
That would be a major faux pas.
Yeah, I can't sell it. It's a gift. So I was like, I'll just
Visual
take it off.
Aesthetical.
And so I popped it off. You could glue it back on, but like James Taylor's J50, for example, also has this blank.
Oh, wow.
And I kind of like it because it's like a ghost of something kind of Baroque and overdone, but it's not as loud.
Right.
Yeah.
Total. Did it change the sound?
I mean, it can only have made it better, right? I mean,
Theoretically, yes.
yeah, theoretically.
How did you get it off though? Weren't you scared that it was gonna like do something?
I asked my fix-it guy.
Uh-huh.
So I think they take a blow dryer and very slowly try to melt the glue under the. I mean, I wouldn't do that.
Oh, because when you said I popped it off.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was
Sorry.
like,
Yeah. See all these marks?
Yeah.
That wasn't. Yeah. Yeah.
That was me digging in.
Yeah.
You didn't do that though. The whole.
No. But when it's really worn, obviously it's a nice sign, right? Somebody must have really enjoyed it. It must feel good.
But you've done that. I mean, your old J200 you wore yourself.
Yes, and dropped it a few. It's been through some stuff. Neck's broken a couple times. Strap slipped off. It cracked here.
Oof.
Stuff has happened.
Wow. That's a cool guitar. Is it a narrow? Were you saying that the bridge the nut is super narrow?
It's not. Amazingly, it's not as narrow as they got. This is the 11/16, but they went down to 9/16.
Wow.
And 1 and 11/16 of an inch is what it is.
You are truly one of us.
I do a lot of those.
Yeah?
I do a 1 and 11/16 or 1 and
Yeah.
5/8 usually for
And-
most people.
A lot of it's psychological because then you're like, oh, I hear this as a narrow neck, so I all of a sudden feel
Yeah.
weird. But then I realize it's just a Les Paul neck,
Right.
is all it is,
Yeah.
and it feels completely normal. So this is what happens on this show, right? I can be
This is
nerdy.
Yeah.
this is- So you were a Les Paul guy for a long time.
Yes.
There was. I'm going to try and list to you the Les Pauls you've owned.
Oh wow.
Is that weird to do? No, it's fun.
No,
Oh.
that's
Yeah.
what the
It's
show
had-
is.
backwards,
You
Tom.
had the ill-fated gold top,
Yes. Yes.
which I sold Matthew a 68 gold top.
71.
71?
Thank
71
God.
gold.
Thank God.
Thank
Oh my
God.
It's already a horrible story. It's just it's not that bad.
That you actually can be. I was doing research, and I hadn't remembered that is the guitar in your video for Popular,
Yes.
complete with the Seymour Duncan mini humbuckers I had
Yep.
retrofitted. So you had that
Whoa.
guitar. We won't get into it. It's a long story. But
I lost it in a really dumb way. Yeah.
but am I making you feel bad? Don't feel bad.
no, I mean,
Okay, good.
I had to get over it. actually,
Then you had
yesterday.
your you had a Les Paul Classic with a Mises sticker on it.
Yep, still have that.
Still have that.
Yep.
Then you
With
had
the what sticker? Mises, the
We,
band?
we
Yeah.
toured with this band. The
Oh, yeah,
Mises.
yeah, I know
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
then you had the black 69 Custom.
Yep. Still have that.
You still have it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that was
Thank
good.
God.
And
Yeah,
that-
that one.
Yeah.
I know that one. You can't get rid of.
I didn't know if that had gone or not.
No, no, no.
And then you had how many Edwards?
I have 3 Edwards,
Oh.
Yeah. and they're great. Have you played Edwards?
No,
Yeah.
but this is
We go back. We text a
we
lot.
almost can't even go down this, but let's do it. So some of them, because this is the the disease of like, and Tom and I like constantly go from like kind of classic guitars then to like basically our text threads led me to buy Warren D. Martini Swords Charvel guitar recently, which is an amazing guitar. But prior to that, I was kind of like, I want a George Lynch ESP bomber guitar. But then in the search for that, Edwards, wasn't it Edwards that makes?
Yes.
They made one for like a fraction of the cost, and everything I read online was like, this is amazing.
Where are they at?
They're Japanese.
It's
yeah,
the
they're
Japanese.
It's ESP. in
Oh,
Japan.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And but these are like truly guitars I need like a hole in the head.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's like a bag of Doritos. I don't need it.
But there was at least like 20 texts about whether Edwards is cooler than LTD, which is the and it went on forever. But you had Sunburst Les Paul. They have like full on headstocks, right? Like the full Gibson headstock.
Yeah, the what's called the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. I may only have 2, so not that matters, but it just sounds so much better to only have 2 because it's like how
You
many
have 6.
how many cats before you're a cat person? But yeah, they're great and they're very light, which is awesome. And I have one that's the Jimmy Page push pull pots, which is neat. but-
It comes that way?
yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
so cool. Wait, the push. Do you mean the under the pickguard thing?
Oh,
no,
the
the push
modification.
pull, like the
coil tap.
yeah.
Coiled.
Okay.
and like phase and all kinds of weird stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, they may make one with something under the pickguard. What is that?
there were Jimmy Page on one of his, was it 59 or 58?
9, I think.
That he has these like little things like under the pickguard
Right.
that do something.
Right.
I'm sure something amazing. I don't know.
right.
So when was the day? I mean, because I have to say, like, I think that your Telecaster, your black Telecaster, didn't it sit like at my studio for like 2 years in a gig bag?
Yeah, I didn't play it for a really long time. Which
And then now it's like
This
it's
is not the Kaler Telly.
No, that one's gone. I think, right?
yeah, that's gone. No, well, the reason I didn't play it for long, I mean, I loved it and I've played it on our records, but I was always into Les Pauls just because we were a trio, and there's this probably another fallacy. It's got to be really round sound.
Mm-hmm.
But Les Pauls, I feel, don't love capos, and I've become capo-ier and capo-ier as the years have gone by. We have very few open, more often capo than not.
Oh wow.
And so I was having to retune a lot, and then I discovered or saw people successfully play Fenders and capo all the time. And so I put really heavy strings on my Tele, played 12 to 56.
Oh wow.
And
This is serious.
and then I hold on to very carefully. I hold on to one Kaiser that I have that has a very weak spring,
Oh wow.
so it doesn't grip as much. If I lose it, I'll be sad.
I think that what we need to do is try to actualize that Kaiser needs to make a MC01 capo.
Oh, yeah.
What is that?
The Matthew Caws 01 capo.
Oh.
Oh, that'd be neat.
I feel like it.
I think,
we've just secreted it,
I think you
or
could.
not even more. We just put.
I wouldn't want to be the one responsible for telling you to like FedEx it to them to duplicate it,
Right.
because then you would call me and be like, "Dude, you ruined everything."
Well, I've tried with vice grips to take a normal Kaiser and kind of
Hobble it.
compromise the spring a little bit, like tire it out, bend
Uh-huh.
it. It hasn't quite worked.
Is the idea that the weaker spring is less likely to like pull it out
Yeah.
of tune?
Do you have it here?
No.
Okay, I wanted to feel the spring.
Yeah, but they're just unnecessarily firm. Is the
Yeah.
problem?
I find Kaisers to be impossible to use
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
See, now I just blew it. With
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Another. We lost Ingve and Kaiser
Yeah.
today.
So, and then, but your Telly has a little 59 in the bridge?
That's right. Seymour Duncan Little 59.
So, just because it would be, like we're running time here and we haven't mentioned that the reason that Matthew is out being worked semi to death a little bit, like you played last night, you're playing twice today, right?
Yep.
You were in
Yeah.
Germany
3 days ago.
3 days ago?
Yeah.
England, then LA, right?
Yep. Tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we have.
Is that there's a new Not a Surf record
Yeah.
coming out, or well, probably by now, that has just
It
come
will
out.
have already, yeah.
Called Moon Mirror, that is awesome.
Thank you.
This is not the best show to come on to plug something because we
No.
avoid.
You
we
got to
never
make
get
it
around to
you
it.
got to
We're
make
like,
it to
oh, yeah,
like
we got to mention
minute
the
47.
thing. We'll do it at the. We'll add it in post. It'll be right at that. That'll be the first thing.
It's Not a Surf's first record on New West.
Yes.
And it sounds like some of the songs, there's like 96 guitar tracks.
Yeah. There are a few that I probably went too far.
I don't think so. I mean,
Oh, good. I mean, I love that sound. I think, philosophically, maybe it sounds so elegant for it to be really simple. And of course, the records that are all the incredible records where there's just, there's just what they played,
right.
like television or something. It's incredible. But, I'm kind of hooked. I'm hooked on double tracking vocals. I can't seem to get over it. I just love it so much. It's like magic.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same with guitars.
You guys are the two people in the world who I've let play my 1964 SG in the studio,
Yeah.
and the two people who are the most fun to layer
Oh, fun.
guitar tracks.
Those are
Like
high praise.
He's also like more.
Yeah, like
It's
I'm
so
like,
fun.
Well,
What
because
amp
my
now?
thing is always, and not everyone understands this, especially in the mixing phase. You would understand it. Is obviously like those 5 things are meant to just sound like one thing, or just this one warbly little thing. Like, if I may reference the only song I've ever written that anyone knows, the Valley Lodge song "Go," the theme to Last Week Tonight. There's the melody do thing, and that's like, even on the demo was like 6 different things, and people always ask me like, "Oh, what's the thing?" I'm like, "It's so many things I don't even know."
Yeah.
Like it's Q-tron up, Q-tron down, piano. It's a million things
Right.
to get
Yeah.
something that sounds like one thing.
That's great.
So what did you use on this? I saw some photos where there were some Les Pauls around in the studio, and you were at Rockfield.
Rockfield.
Who
yeah.
else has recorded at Rockfield?
So many people that I won't be able to remember or name, but
Where is Rockfield?
it's in Wales.
Okay.
Dave Edmonds, I think, was the first to use it a bunch.
Wait, is this the one? Yeah, it's like legendary.
Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody was made
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I know it.
And then
Okay.
a whole bunch of,
The interns are
recently-
sheep.
yeah.
Amazing.
It's like Stone Roses camped out there for like 2 years or something, just trying to spend all the money.
Wow.
Oasis and stuff. But the first 3 Echo and the Bunnymen records were made there. That I really, really love. And Flaming Groovy's Shake Some Action was made there.
That was made there?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Wow, that's amazing.
And then every time I talk to somebody about it who knows that studio, they name all this super important stuff that I can't seem to remember.
That's pretty important what you've mentioned already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And this is the first record in a long time that I haven't, that the timing and the money did not work out to come see you, because to say that on our last 4 or 5 records, one of the highlights of making it is that I go camp out with Tom in his studio for 2, 3, sometimes up to 4 days, 2 or 3 days at least, and just
Do
play,
guitars.
tone together.
I mean, it's
so much fun.
paradise for there's every
So great.
possible thing that could happen.
Yeah, I mean every
Yeah.
guitar you have is incredible. Every amp you have is incredible. You got all the pedals. It's a dream.
Yeah.
My sickness.
And you don't get tired of
Yeah, this
yeah.
pays off.
And you're down for like getting really obsessive about it, which is great.
Oh, yeah.
I don't feel like I'm
Well, you guys, and then we'll get back. But like, Dave and you are 2 people where it's worth it because we can be sitting there and try like a Maxon overdrive
Yeah.
and a tube screamer, and it'll be like, oh, that one. And first of all, we'll all agree.
yeah.
But B, realize like, oh, it really did like, make a difference, and like
Yeah.
kind of, it gets deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
then
worth
you
the trouble.
I don't know. It's like endless. I'm with like I think the second Painted Doll record we made, there was that thing where we put like the Greer light speed through. I can't
A
remember.
Supro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the telly, and then I don't even think it was what we were planning on doing. We were just like, and then I was kind of messing around where we're like, what are we going to use for this? And then we're like, wait, this is the greatest guitar sound in history.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember at one point we went to 30th Street and I played a Twin 12, a thingy, a Sears one.
Oh, the Supro. No,
No.
the Silvertone. Yeah, yeah.
Silvertone Twin
Yeah,
12. Yeah. And they're so great. They're kind of hard to work with because a lot of the sound comes from the cabinet being made out of balsa and vibrating so much. So
And
it's like
close back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it's like a giant, like
Yeah.
a
Bosses.
paper over a comb. What was it? The cheap kazoo we used to make, when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah.
Toilet paper over a comb?
Yeah.
No, it's like
No.
paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put.
I think that's what it's called. It's
Yeah. Yeah. So
I should say I've never succeeded in making one of those, but I know it's a thing.
yeah. So I was playing this Twin 12 and Tom's like, that's the best guitar sound I've ever heard. Now you're totally right, and then bought it. But I'm just so glad you were there
Right.
at that moment. I needed your opinion. Yeah.
I've had Tom meet me at that's the
still
SG I
haven't
have.
been
Yeah.
there.
We're taking a day trip.
You have
Yeah.
to go.
Well, we should do a day trip. Everybody.
The SG I have, because I bought this 2006 USA SG, like 61 reissue, and I played it, and I was like, this is the second greatest SG I've ever played, Tom's being the greatest. And then I had him come meet you. I don't think you were humoring me, but I was like, am I crazy? And then you came to the store, and you're like, this is amazing. Right? Why are you looking at me like you don't know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember.
I think you had a stroke.
did.
But you know
I have had a
You
stroke.
know the guitar I'm
It was that
talking
good.
about.
Yeah,
You
I
know-
totally. Yeah, you have that SG is amazing.
Yeah, but because
You only need one to play a G chord to know on a guitar.
oh
really.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is the thing with guitar stores. This is why. And plus, I have such like, this is like a just the I don't know PTSD of youth of going into stores, and then being like, this
Yeah.
doesn't have any money, and so I have like a thing where I cannot. You know it. I don't do it at Carmine Street. I'll play
I had to
a
force
G
Dave to
chord.
play
I'll play a
something.
G chord, or I'll go like ring, ring. I'll do like a bend around like 7th fret, like a double
Yeah.
stop bend or whatever. Is that what it's called? I don't know. Those are the two things. So I'm like
Right.
G chord and ring, ring.
Yep,
And I'm
yep,
like,
yep.
if those two things
Yeah.
aren't awesome, it's not for me. But yeah, I can't. I just because I'm like, I have this thing where I'm afraid I'm going to be asked to leave at any moment. So,
Right.
but I've reduced it to those two
Right.
things.
Right, and you're just increasing your data set of those two things. You know
Yeah.
what a G sounds like. on
And
those-
I just
yeah.
feel people think I'm crazy because I can go through 30 guitars in a guitar store like
Yeah.
fast because I'm just like, nope,
Yeah.
nope,
Yeah.
Nope. You know, and because there's no point in going further.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what did you on this record? You used the Tele, and did you use your son's guitars?
Yeah, I brought. Yeah, my son Theodore. He has just become interested in guitars, and I got him a Les Paul Classic. It was the one with the zebra pickup.
Yeah, which are hot. They're probably really hot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's super fun.
His son's totally into prog.
Yeah, he's very proggy.
Like that could mean so many things. What?
Yes, primarily.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then
That's
you
a
know,
good. I mean, if you're gonna do it, that's a good.
Yeah.
And we went to see the John Anderson band at the Newark NJ Pack.
Yeah.
Where we saw Dylan.
Yeah.
And it's great. So apparently John Anderson found a Yes cover band
That's what
and
I
hired them
heard.
as a band, and the bass players totally got it. It's that super trebly Rickenbacker perfect sound. The band was awesome. And then we went to see Rick Wakeman in London.
Oh.
That was incredible. He has a wraparound keyboard world that took up 2/3 of the stage, and then the guitar player and bass player had these teeny tiny amps over on the side, and his son plays guitar.
Wow.
It's pretty great.
Did he still have a cape?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes,
He has a cape?
He came out in a fantastic cape, and then halfway through the show changed into an extraordinary cape.
Wow.
Like,
It's amazing. Have you read his? I can't remember what it's called. His book, his autobiography. Matt Sweeney turned me on to it.
oh wow, no, I
And
haven't.
It's great. It's full of just like hijinks, mischief,
Yeah,
capes.
I want to. He seems like his story is just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
Survivor.
So,
I'm confused on one thing.
yes.
Yeah.
Was the Kaler Tele your first guitar, or what was your first
Oh.
guitar? Because we usually ask people
Yeah.
this
Oh, yes.
on here.
My first guitar was a black Les Paul copy that I convinced my dad to get me for probably $100 on like 11th and 3rd at a pawn shop.
How old were you?
I was 13,
Okay.
maybe 14, and I cut out the Gibson logo from a pack of Gibson strings and glued it onto the headstock.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And I didn't have a case, but one of the happiest moments of my life was when I was walking down the street, I don't know where, carrying it with no case, and some like older kid across the street was walking by. I was like, "Hey, cool guitar!" I was so excited.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then,
That was at the moment you were like, that's it. I know now.
yeah, I was a very probably. But the story you were telling during the ramp up, something reminded me of it. It reminded me of something, which was that I'd started to play guitar, and we lived on the 11th floor. And one day, after a couple of months, I got on the elevator, and a woman got on the 9th floor and saw my guitar, and said, she took a pause, and then she said, "You're getting better." And I was like, thrilled, embarrassed, not insulted. Obviously, I couldn't be any good, but it was kind of everything at
What
once.
kind of
So
amp
cool.
did you have?
Fender Princeton.
Oh, that's loud.
Yeah. Yeah, and this guy, Stefan D. Hayes, the guy who was in our first band, convinced me to switch. Would it be cool if I switched the speaker out with my Roland Cube and your Fender Princeton? I was like, sure. And so he put in a speaker with a much bigger magnet. And it's not like I was turning it up enough to get any tone out of it, but it probably didn't make it better.
Wow.
But yeah, and I stuck it out the window once because I had some friends downstairs.
Oh, so you're rocking them?
Yeah.
I would do that. Like growing up in in the suburbs of Cleveland, I got, and I kicking myself for getting rid of it. I had like a Music Man 212,
Yeah.
that I sold for something really dumb, and but yeah, I learned how to play Celebration Day by Led Zeppelin, and I was just opening the windows. I'm like, everyone's getting this.
right. I was not playing anything that good, but yeah, it's a good feeling.
So yeah, what did you use on the record? Because there's a lot of guitar sounds and a lot of good stuff.
It's mostly Fender Deluxe and AC-15, and bunch of pedals. And for a couple of solos, I lined up a whole bunch of fuzz boxes in my house and just kept choosing between them. Like,
Oh wow, you had like a menu, like a whole buffet.
yeah. Well, you do that all the time. I feel like I've taken a picture on your floor where it's
yeah.
just like daisy chained across the world. yeah.
But Yeah, because you were kind of freaked out about recording at home, right? You were like, "Is it okay to record direct?"
Right. Well, the Strymon Iridium is really, really great. It's it's a modeling pedal. Yeah, and the little switches just go from Fender Deluxe, which I play all the time, to AC30, which I love, to JCM 800, which is my other favorite. It's like my 3 favorite amps lined up, and you just click between them, and each one has 3 speaker choices, and
it sounds great. I mean, it's not like you can listen to the record and be like, "Oh, that's total in Strymon."
Yeah.
That's not tubes.
Yeah, but I did do mostly. It's mostly just a Fender Deluxe at Rockfield.
I want to tell you about the dream I had last night.
Oh.
I was in a band with Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley.
Oh wow.
Sort of like they looked like they're sort of like early 90s Revenge era, like sort of more of their black
mustaches.
leather.
Or
And
Gene had it.
we had to perform the Buggles' Video Killed the Radio Star.
Oh my God.
So I'm rehearsing with the rest of the band, and I didn't know the song, of course.
I've had this dream 8 million times.
And I knew I needed some extra equipment, so I went to a store, but here's where it gets really weird, and it comes back to this. The band, we were staying in Notre Dame Cathedral.
Uh-huh.
That's
As you do.
Yes, you do. Which had hotel rooms in the back. And then somehow...
This checks out, actually. A lot of people don't know that.
And then in the
It's on
front...
Airbnb.
In the front, there was a water slide.
Uh-huh.
And people were coming down this water slide in the center of the cathedral and out. And then that's how you got out of there. There was also a rampway down that was carpeted. And because I was in KISS and I was trying to get out of the hotel, I had brand new cowboy boots on.
This is a lot.
Yeah. This is the beginning. And so I was
The beginning. The show is in 7 hours. I don't know if we have time.
I was sliding down the carpet in the Notre Dame exit past the restaurant, like skiing in my cowboy boots. And then I went and I bought some equipment that I needed. But I had to get back, and you couldn't get back in the same way.
Right.
And so I had to go around this giant walkway back into rehearsal. And suddenly there was a 57 Les Paul with a Bigsby, but only 2 pickup, very rare. And we kept playing the Buggles song, and I didn't know it, but every time we started playing, my pickup selector was on the neck pickup, so it sounded like shit, and I was like, fuck, and I kept switching it. And then Gene and Paul somehow were coming out of their hotel room, and they were like, come on, let's go, we got to go. And I realized I hadn't packed yet, and then I woke up in a cold sweat.
It's so good. I had every variety.
That's totally real.
No, I enjoyed this story. But why did you tell us? What?
That's the dream I had last night because I was nervous that my friend was coming on.
Oh, I don't see the connection. But like what?
Well,
How do you know that? Because
the subconscious is
when
not
I
a one-to-one.
analyze it,
Yeah.
I get something else from it entirely.
You know, like we don't know. Like you could have been Gene. Like you
Right,
could have been
right.
Paul. You could have been who knows? Like
That is a good. That's a lot.
it was a very intense
I
dream.
admire I always wake up and kind of like remember dreams a little bit, and then by like 7 a.m. I was like, all I know, there was a sandwich at some point. That's all I remember. Like,
But the music ones, I mean, it's always like you're in the studio and you have no songs and everybody's waiting, or the Who need an extra drummer, and so I get up there and I can't tighten any of the hardware.
Oh wow!
Or like
you've had a Who drummer dream?
yeah, or like Tom Verlaine wants you to play guitar with him and you can't find a cable and you're running all over the house and the gig's almost over. I've had all those.
I have those all.
Anxiety.
I had one of those last because I'm starting these shows that we were talking about before, and all of them are like the whole show. I'm like, wait, hang on, I forgot to plug this one thing in, and that's the show.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming.
Oh man, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
You know,
Super fun.
this guy, not for nothing, was the best man at my wedding. It's a true.
You buried the lead.
Yeah. This is like.
I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah. Like I really did, not to end on a down note, but like I hope you guys are at my funeral. He better be at my funeral.
I hope I'm not at your funeral because I want to go first.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. Me too.